welcome back to Focal Point. My name is Joe Hoban, and today our conversation will be all about the hoopla of video games, and do they make people violent, and should we be getting more defensive on microtransactions in video games? To begin, if we're going to talk about violent video games, we must touch base on the first-person shooter, which has been around almost as long as video games have been. The first FPS that was 1974 Maze War, which was essentially played on a very old-school computer. Since then, it has risen and transformed to games like Wolfenstein, Doom, GoldenEye, 007, and Call of Duty, just to name a few. Ever since then, the first-person shooters have taken over the market. According to the New York Times, from 1995 to 2013, they have ramped up to a total revenue of $100 million to a multi-billion-dollar industry. The numbers don't lie. People love playing video games where you can pick up a gun and shoot someone. And to get a wide spectrum on how much on-screen deaths happen in video games, I will use my own stats I got from my old account on Destiny. Over the course of 118 matches that lasted between 9 to 10 minutes for a total of 1 day, 11.5 hours, in one video game, I killed 1,370 people. Now, I was in the top 10 percentile on that game, so this is more the far side of the spectrum. To put this in comparison to real-life Chris Kyle, also known as American Sniper, while on duty, he had a total of 160 confirmed kills, and the aftermath led him to suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. Now, argument could be made that 160 confirmed kills and kill count is nothing in comparison to the atomic bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima or Nagasaki, but that is not the focal point of today. At the end of the day, when you are the one looking through the scope of a gun and pulling the trigger, it's a lot more jolting because you actually see a person die. So the question is, do video games make people violent? The scientific evidence that was conducted by the University of York does not believe so. The University of York tested people not just on realistic video games when it comes to improved graphics, but also characteristics in video games like ragdoll physics, and found the results to be mixed and no concise answer. What makes this a more challenging conversation is that there have been studies that have shown of children who do play violent video games could lead to more aggressive nature. And just like the scientific world, from a survey that was made in 2010, parents are split just about 50-50 with whether or not do video games make people violent, with people on both sides of the fence saying that prolonged exposure causes more increased violent tendencies, and while others claim that other factors including parental involvement, the child's personality, how much time the child spends on the games, and similar components of a child's environment all need to be accounted for. In my humble opinion, I think we should be asking, do video games desensitize us to the world that is around us? And more importantly, should we be worried about other media making us violent rather than video games? In a world where found footage from police body cams, beheadings, and public executions are being shown on the internet or on our television screens, are we becoming desensitized by our outside world? The conversation should not be if media or video games has been an influence on us. Of course media influences our thoughts. There is a whole business based around that called advertising. But like marketing and entertainment, there comes escapism, which is a tendency to seek distraction and relief from unpleasant realities, especially by seeking entertainment or engaging in a fantasy world, in a world where we are reminded every day that this world is a scary and horrible place. We as a people seek to escape it, whether it be through watching a movie, a television show, reading a romance novel, or playing a video game. So I seek to pose a question to you, the viewer, and you, the audience. Should we, in a world where we are constantly reminded that this world is full of mass violence, terrorist attacks, and bloodshed, should we be trying to get rid of an outlet that may or may not cause more of these violent tendencies? And that is why our focal point of today is, do video games make people violent? Later tonight, we will touch on that with our guests. So stay tuned.
Te tengo que decir desde que a mí me tienes harta, el peso de ese su cuerito, me llaman a las 4 de la mañana, me toman mensaje, mira, oye, pero a cada rato, oye, te tengo que decir, este muchacho me tiene a mi hija. Ni siquiera tengo su number safe, me llama cada rato, me está mandando mensajes que yo te hacía.
Ay, pero qué dramática.
¿Dramática cómo? Dramática que tu madrina, chico, te estoy diciendo que no es problema mía, cada rato te metes en tu problema.
Estás viendo PSTV, Canal Charter 194, Canal Campus 10.1.
Tune into PSTV, Campus Channel 10.1 and Charter Cable 194. Hello, my name is Joe Hoban. And before we get back to the show, we need to address you, the audience, on an issue that is affecting many Americans around the country. Depression and anxiety are no laughing matter. According to Our World data, 322 million people around the world suffer with depression, and whether it be major depressive disorder, post-traumatic stress, or any other depression, we here at Focal Point want to let you know that we know things won't get better overnight, but there's a wide range of people who can help you out in the darkest of time. The number for suicide prevention is 1-800-273-8255, and they will help you. And if you are here at SUNY Plattsburgh, the health center is a great place too if you ever need someone to talk to. Suicide is one of the top 10 deadly killers right now in our country, with last year claiming about 40,000 lost souls. That is 40,000 lost souls that this world will never see again. And suicide has no bounds on who it reaches from, taking our soldiers who suffer with PTSD or a child struggling with his sexuality in the world. It does not look at the rich and poor any differently, as we see celebrities like the late Robin Williams and Chester Bennington, who both died by their own hands. So once again, if you are feeling that your voice is not being heard, please reach out and know that you are not alone in this world. And there's always someone who will give you an ear to listen to. And that number, once again, is 1-800-273-8255. Don't wait before it's too late. Stay safe, and from us to you, take care. Thank you.
I want to welcome you to yet another version of After Hours here on PSTV.
And welcome to another installment of Talk Nerdy to Me.
You look excited. Yeah. I'm freezing.
I'm Lauren Weiss.
And I'm Kyle Bryant. Let's take a look at today's top stories.
2 minutes of the finest in news that you need to know about.
And now it's time for a PSTV News special report.
Scoring scores! With 2 seconds left!
Plattsburgh Hoop Troop is a recreational club where you can either come to learn how to hoop, you can come for hoop fitness, or you can just come to hang out with your friends if you already know how to hula hoop. It was something I started as a sophomore because I love to hula hoop. Our open flow sessions take place from Friday 2 to 3 and Tuesdays 6:30 to 8. Watch PSTV on channel 10.1 or Charter 194.
Oh, PSTV's on.
PSTV, it do the things and stuff. There's shows on it that you can watch.
Pretty good stuff, man.
Hello and welcome back to Focal Point. My name is Joe Hoban, and welcome to a segment we like to call Average Joe Talks, where each week we talk to some guys around and we talk about a controversial issue. This week's controversial issue is, do video games make people violent, and should we be taking a closer look on microtransactions? With me today, I am joined by Warren Seabrook, the president of Arcadia, the video game club on campus, Taiwan Grant, a personal good friend of mine, and Nicholas Arsenikos, who was with me last week, and thank you for coming back.
My pleasure.
Now, guys, we all know why we're here today. We're here to talk about, do video games make people violent? And I want to start off by asking to you, Lawrence, do you feel that with the ongoing culture of video games getting more violent, that the graphics are playing a big part of that?
Okie dokie. Well, I think that the graphics do make it closer to reality in a visual sense, and I guess that can lead some to thinking that violence can be conflated with the fact that it's close to reality and that you might want to enact the things you see, which is always the claim. But I think that just because it's more realistic doesn't change the fact that it is still a game, and that's what people usually go into playing a game with as knowledge. Is that this is what I'm playing to escape reality as opposed to this is what I'm playing because it will become reality.
Yeah, I agree with Lawrence a bit. At the end of the day, like the games we get will like always be an experience, and to make that experience like to make that experience like an influence just because it's like close to reality isn't like too much of a fair judgment on people's part. The graphics are getting up there kind of scaringly fast. Battlefield 1 looks tremendous, but at the end of the day, even in game, most people aren't worried about like how many kills I got, but how good am I at the game. Or even though like first-person shooters is like very popular, there are like plenty of other experiences, some of which could arguably like influence violence as well. But as it stands like now, I don't believe video games are much of a factor with violence, influence, and such.
And Nick, what do you think?
I have to agree with both of the people that previously spoke before me. In regard to the violent video games, yes, they are violent in nature, but no, they will not. I do not feel that they will affect people's vision of the world in a more violent tone. I don't see it actually happening. And in regard to the whole increasing of the graphics and quality of the game to make it more realistic, yes, that is happening, but people can still tell that it's a virtual world. It's not real. People can still tell that. I mean, sure, it gets to the point where it's really, 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 truly realistic, and it may even become the Matrix one day, but it's not that yet, and it's still fictional. Like any movie, it's like a video game as well. It's all fiction.
Now, do you guys feel that it should be the parents responsible for making sure that their kids know that the games aren't real, or should there be more media or teachers aware to bring up what is real in video games and what is not, with ongoing stuff in our culture like virtual reality, where now we're actually putting on a mask and seeing video games through our own eyes and not just through a TV screen?
Well, I guess I'll speak first on the matter. I think that the advancements that we currently have that are allowing for such immersive gameplay they're still just going to further the fact that this is an escape from reality. You know, that's where it's going to take the focus of a game. You know, I put this on and this is what I'm doing, this is how I'll go about it, and this is what separates me from average go to work, be angry, come home kind of guy. You know, I put it on and I can play whatever game from Overwatch, or some people even simulate jobs in these things. I can't imagine why, but whatever helps you get through the day.
Ty.
Yeah, I would believe that it would be primarily the parent's job to remind their kid that at the end of the day, this is all just an experience that that you chose to select and live out to escape from your daily activities. And I wouldn't hold teachers not accountable at all, because I imagine that there'll be like some videos like teachers bring up in class, although not video games. Maybe some videos may be video game related, but the teachers will have to dive into like ideas like near the subject and just remind students like this isn't these activities aren't encouraged. It's just something that you choose to experience, and leave it to leisure.
Okay. And Nick.
In regards to if a parent should tell the children that it's a virtual world, definitely. It's a parent's job to raise their children. But a teacher should also reinforce this in their mind, as well as anyone else in society. It shouldn't just be the parent's job primarily, well, it should be, but it should also be other people's job around them to also make sure that they understand this. Now, coming from me, I'm a person that grew up in a difficult environment. My childhood was filled with a lot of sad events. And as a gamer, video games helped me find a way to escape from that world. And I thank them for a lot of actually pleasant moments from my childhood. And without them, I probably wouldn't even be here today, because it was not exactly fun.
we need as a society escapism. Escapism was originally coined during the early 1900s when movies first started coming out with the cowboy movies. Now, with the idea of escapism in mind, do you feel that as a culture, past video games now, that we are becoming more and more prone to want escapism for the stuff that is going on, rather than in the last decade that we are more an escapist reality rather than a couple decades ago? Ty.
I think I'm not really sure on like how, like if we are like wanting more, but I can link it to like the technology we're getting. This is like one of the fastest advancements with technology in mind that the world probably seen. It's advancing pretty fast, and now we have VR, so there could be. Let me get back to it, get my thoughts in order. But like technology's advancements are making it like easier for us to want escapism, because like with every new thing that comes out, we just like want a new video or something to test out the device. And yeah, like with craving new devices, that's comes naturally. So yeah, that the advancements of technology can like encourage the want of more experiences.
I agree with that. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be right back. When we come back, though, we're going to go away from the violent side of video games, talk about the microtransactions and the business side of it. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Thank you.
Me te tengo que decir, te quiero que me tienes harta. El peso que dice su cuerito, me llaman a las 4 de la mañana, me toman mensaje, mira. Oye, pero cada rato. Oye, te tengo que decir, este muchacho que me tiene a mi harta. Ni siquiera tengo su number save. Me llama cada rato, me está mandando mensajes que yo te hacía.
Ay, pero qué dramática.
¿Dramática cómo? Dramática que tu madrina, chico. Te estoy diciendo que no es problema mío. Cada rato tú me tienes tu problema.
Estás viendo PSTV, Canal Charter 194, Canal Campus 10.1.
Tune into PSTV, Campus Channel 10.1 and Charter Cable 194. Hello and welcome back. My name is Joe Hoban and I'm here to my guests today, Lawrence, Ty, and Nick. Now guys, when it comes to microtransactions, there's been a very big issue that has been concerning a lot of people, that microtransactions is a lot like gambling. So my question I want to raise today is, do you feel that the rating system should be improved to counteract microtransactions?
Well, in regard to the rating system, I suppose you can try and look at it that way, but the rating system isn't going to affect much. I remember when I was 13, I was buying an M-rated game. It's not going to stop people. The parents don't really care, or at least mine didn't. They thought it was a video game, it was just another video game, either way he was going to play it. I would like to counteract your question with a point with the fact that maybe it should be more of a parental consent kind of thing. They should know this beforehand. It shouldn't be something as simple as a rating, but more as a locked feature. Since you register on a video game with already age, maybe have it set into another person, someone like a parent or even someone else, or make it set into a more strict kind of age limit on it instead of simply putting 18 when you're 14 on a video game. Make it so that it's more strict like that. I don't know exactly how you can do that, but maybe try and find a way we can do it like that. It would hopefully help stop that issue, I feel at least.
Tyler, do you want to?
Well, I think that I'm with Nico that I think that as opposed to a rating system, what they need to improve is the awareness for parents who do buy these games for kids that don't quite understand, I would say, the addictive nature of loot boxes and things like that, and microtransactions. They're very addictive for, I want this and this is how I can get this, and it's not a lot, and it's just a self-fulfilling thought that it'll work out while it's still costing you money. But I mean, I'm pretty sure Europe's already cracking down and making sure that everybody knows that they think loot boxes and microtransactions are gambling, and they're trying to spread the word as much as they can so that as many people can understand, and not just kids who already know and are going to skirt around their parents as best they can, but so that parents can actually look out for this and keep an eye out.
And Ty?
I agree with both both friends here. Information is like key, so just knowing what you're going to step into before you get into it, like with gambling and loot boxes, would be like a huge step forward. So it won't become less of a problem. We still would have to like deal with like solving the issue like overall. But just knowledge on it to see like if this is really worth what you're putting in, if this game is too influential, like if you're not ready to handle these topics, then let's just put the game aside and wait for a day when we are ready, or just pick something else if you're not comfortable with it altogether.
All the points you made, and I want to just clarify to the people out there, the issue that a lot of people are raising up is, although microtransactions are not gambling because you still get a reward, well, like a lottery ticket, sometimes you just lose point out. But I think that, Nick, you brought up a wonderful point. I want to actually touch up a little more of that. So you feel that when it comes to, rather than the government intervening, there should be more pressure on the localized business like a GameStop to make more awareness for the microtransactions?
I suppose you can look at that, but in any case, it doesn't come down to the business. It's similar to how nowadays with alcohol, you can easily get someone who's 21 to try and get something for a minor, and it's completely wrong, but people still do it. It's the same thing with a parent buying a rated 18 and up mature game. They're going to do that. It's more of a social issue than a governmental or even private business issue. It should be gone down all the way to the parents. It's not something that the government or even a business should be involved in. It all goes down to how a child is raised. It all goes down to how a parent raises their children. That's what it goes down to.
Yeah, I think it's the key part is that parents need to fully understand what they're allowing here. And, you know, if that's what they're okay with, then who's to say that they shouldn't be able to do that? But some, and I would say a lot of parents are very hands-off with games. I mean, I know mine were. They bought me the game, and they didn't care after that. As long as they didn't see something they did not like outright that was visual, I could do whatever. So maybe if they knew more about the aspect, parents would be able to at least explain to their children the habit that this could form, or why this is such an issue that people are talking about.
And also with that, we could like talk about whether, like, even though this is like an issue, like ways to avoid the issue before we go into the experience. Like, this is shooting. We probably wouldn't want to do shooting because A, B, C, just in case it does become a reality issue with a young infant growing up with games around them. So maybe it'll be hard for them to turn like reality from experience, but with a parent in mind. Yeah, just making sure we have like a double check to all of our encounters so we could all have a safe leisure time.
I think you guys are absolutely right about all of that. And I just want to say for one last part of this, and actually spread that message out to you, the parents out there, please talk to your kids about the video games out there, microtransactions, and all the violence in video games. And I want to say thank you to Lawrence, Taiwan, and Nick for coming on today and joining me. Thank you guys so much.
Anytime.
My pleasure.
It's my pleasure as well.
And well, folks, we'll be back here in 2 weeks more for another episode of Focal Point. So stay tuned, and you're not going to want to miss it. Thank you. My name is Joe Hoban, and as always, stay safe, North Country.